is placed on the floor, okay, and the coefficient of static friction is 0.4. A force of 2.8 newtons is applied on the block. The force of friction between the block and the floor is, yes, anyone? And there is no space. Yeah. What? Equation of friction, there is only one equation of friction, if you remember, that is the limiting friction is equal to what? Mu times (2.8). Anyone else? Anyone else with 2.8? How? The limiting friction is 8 Newton. Exactly, she's 110% correct. Actually, what is happening in this case is a block of mass 2 kg, is being applied by a force. It's under the influence of this 2.8 newtons. Fine. Now you need to understand that the maximum possible friction that can exist between the block and the floor is the limiting friction. Okay, and that limiting friction in this situation comes out to be mu is how much? 0.4, and normal reaction in this case would be 20, right? Isn't it? So multiplied by 20, that means this is how much? 8 newtons of the limiting friction. But only 2.8 Newton is being applied. That means the body wants to get displaced by 2.8. Now friction has the capability of 8 Newtons. That means it can oppose any force which has a limit of 8 Newtons. Fine. But only 2.8 Newtons are applied in this case. So remember, when the applied force is less than the limiting friction, the body will not move, and the friction which will operate in this system will be equal to the applied force, and that is how much? 2.8 Newtons. Is it clear? Yes or no? This is the maximum friction. A guy has a tendency to beat 5 people, but then there is only one guy he has to beat. He will not use all his energy for that one person, right? He will use only that much which is sufficient to defeat him, is it? Similarly, here is the same is the case with friction. Maximum capability is 8, but the required one was 2.8. Fine? The friction in this situation will self-adjust. If you remember the graph of friction is this. Yes? Up till this point, it adjusts as per the applied force, isn't it? Yes or no? So when the applied force is less than the limiting friction, remember the operating friction is always equal to the applied force. Is it fine? Clear?